back. It's your boy, Eduardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator of the great Cinema Draft game and Draft Stream. Welcoming back St. Louis Blues employee, longtime Cinema Draft player and gaming enthusiast, king of the low ball in Draft Stream. It's your boy, Ringballs.
How's it going, Eduardo?
Yes, welcome back, Nick. Our Andy Cohen Watch What Happens Live inspired drinking game word tonight is the word future. Because every time you hear one of us say this word, take a sip of what you're sipping. Just water, not vodka. Because tonight's pod will be all about covering some of our favorite time travel films, and nothing's better than going back to the future. All right, so Nick, welcome back. Because we are in pandemic times, global coronavirus quarantine, pandemic times, reopenings, phasing reopenings, retrenchings, all kind of craziness. I'm sure you see my Twitter feed. It's a fucking hot mess. I just want to hear something good, damn it. Tell me something good, bruh.
So my roommate and I, after probably months of debating and just, we decided to do a bracket of the best Disney movies.
I noticed, and I'm following it. I think I voted on several of them. So yeah, congratulations. This looks fun.
Yeah. So I mean, you see the brackets pop up from time to time, and we would look at them, and none of them seemed to really fit what we liked, and we didn't agree with the seating. So I guess Sunday night we finally sat down and put way too much time into it. I know our third roommate, his girlfriend walked in and was like, "Is this really worth your time?" And we're like, "Probably not, but it's a good way to kill the evening." So we put probably about 3 hours into figuring out the seating and everything. So it was a good way to kill an evening. And we've put up the first 2 rounds of the polls, and I'm going to put up the third round tomorrow.
Oh, very cool. You know what? Thanks for reminding me. I'll have to check back and make my voice heard. There's no lines in this ballot box, damn it. Not Kentucky. All right, so what we're watching. Now, first thing I'm watching is The Letdown. And actually, this goes back a few weeks. What viewers may not realize is that we had a fully in the can podcast with your boy, with Ringballs, and the audio or the video or something was terrible. So he's back graciously. Thank you for coming back, Nick. And so I guess we will rediscuss for our new audience The Letdown. And actually, let me share my screen with The Letdown. Oh, there we go. We share my screen about The Letdown, and this is an Aussie comedy. You know, actually, I'm not going to try to do a voice. I love a good accent, as all of y'all know. My drama degree at work, whatever. But great Aussie comedy. A bit of a workplace. Well, not workplace kind of. Well, yeah, partly workplace. Mostly kind of mums, as they say down there. Actually, no, this is the wrong Letdown. Damn it. Bit of a comedy of mums, new mums. The first episode we see her in a group, like almost like group therapy for new mums, and it's just there's like about 5 or 6 key women they cling to. Yeah, that's perfect. Her, breastfeeding in public, awesome. And it's just really funny. And as a bachelor with no kids that I know of, it's just totally alien to me. And also it's Australia with the great accents, and Alison Bell, who's co-creator and the star of it, she's just fantastic. She's got this really great rubbery face, super game for anything. A lot of really subversively snarky dialogue. I love it. Are you aware of the Letdown at all, Nick?
No, I remember you talking about it when we tried to have our podcast a couple weeks ago, and I made a mental note to watch it, and I forgot my mental note, so I still haven't checked it out, even though everything you've described about it sounds right in my wheelhouse.
No, it's great. It's 2 seasons. They're half-hour episodes each, like more like 20-something minutes, and they fly right by. I think I crushed the entire series in like a week and a half. So I recommend it. This guy. So also one of the first one of the scenes in the opening episode, you see her at like late at night. She's in a car with her baby. I guess it's a thing where, and I saw this also on the FX show Breeders, where you can, if you drive a car with a baby, it'll like calm down and go to sleep or something. So she's in a park, the baby asleep, she's trying to get some rest, and this guy comes up. He's a drug dealer in the local park. He's like, "Hey, want to buy some drugs?" And she's like, "No, no, what are you doing? Go away." He's like, "No, you gotta move. You gotta move. This is my territory." It's really funny. He ends up becoming like a bit of an addiction counselor throughout the whole. It's really really funny. The Letdown. Check it out if you can. Postpartum depression. Prolapsed vaginas. All that stuff that I knew nothing about comes to play. All right, and from our draft stream game, something else I'm watching is Bully, Coward, Victim, the story of Roy Cohn. Are you familiar with this work, Ringballs?
I saw you talk about it in the chat, but I was lazy all weekend, and the only thing I think I watched from last week's game was Dad's. I watched that, I think, Monday morning.
Oh, what did you think of that? I know Draft Mom watched it and she liked it.
I liked it. It was really cool to see the interviews and all the stories and people from around the world. And Ron Howard's mustache from back in the 70s. I wish he would still keep it. That was fantastic.
70s was the glorious time for hair. Just ask Jay Devlin. He loves good hair.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed watching Dad's. It was a nice tight hour and like 25-minute documentary, so worth the watch.
All right. Solid endorsement, a little bit of what you were watching. But back to Bully, Coward, Victim, Bully, Coward, Victim, story of Roy Cohn. I've heard of Roy Cohn because I follow politics. I didn't really know much about him. He's a little bit before my time. I think he died sometime in the 80s from complications of AIDS. He's a fascinating guy in so much as he's almost a bit of like a Forrest Gump through American power politics. Like you first see him as like 20-something at the McCarthy trials or hearings or whatever, like 23, 26, something like that, right at Joseph McCarthy's side. Kind of like, he's kind of like the Kushner, the seeping poison into his ear. Is the Jared Kushner seeping poison into McCarthy's ear, fabricating evidence to get Julius and Ethel Rosenberg executed. It's no coincidence this documentary is actually filmed by the granddaughter of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. And so, so take that with a grain of salt if you must. But it's fascinating because this guy, he's, you see him alongside of all these, rich and powerful people. He's famously Donald Trump's consigliere in the 70s and 80s, hooks him up with Manafort and Stone, all that sort of stuff. And even more diabolically, he's a closeted gay figure who actually who supports a ton of clients and legislation that's virulently anti-gay. So no one likes this dude. Everyone who gets on tape or on record for this guy hates him. Even his friends yeah, this guy sucks. So it's fascinating. It's like as if you're watching the documentary of Darth Vader himself. Nobody likes this guy. I'm not sure if people are glad that he's dead, but no one had a kind word to say about this guy, which is usually pretty rare for someone who's deceased. I don't know.
That's I remember you talking about that because was on HBO Max or just regular HBO?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Also, same with The Letdown. Both are on Netflix. Check them out if you get a chance. It's interesting. Just watching this guy. I mean, because you basically get the entire Donald Trump playbook. This guy always denied guilt, never admitted guilt, always denied everything, didn't pay for shit. Like he would run up these like $20,000 bills at like department stores, whatever, and be like, don't pay it. This guy had money. He also moved everything into his company's name, so he had no assets. We tried to sue him, he come up empty because everything was under the name of his companies. Really smart, really brilliant, really bad guy. Check it out. Bully, Coward, Victim, the Roy Cohn story. Story of Roy Cohn. All right, so what have you been watching, Ringballs?
So like I said, I have been a little lazy, but I did finish up Love Life, the last 4 episodes with the Anna Kendrick show.
Oh, Bay, what'd you think?
I mean, I just the show was actually I was going into it knowing I was going to love it one way or the other, and it was actually good. I don't have to just fly my Anna Kendrick flag and say I love it just because of her. No, it was really well done. the stories they did a good job of tying everything together at the end. And, it's I saw they got already approved for a second season, which I'm interesting
Yes.
to see how they go, because they did do a good job of tying it up. If it was just going to be one season, didn't leave you like necessarily on a cliffhanger or anything like that.
So
No,
the story behind that is that it's going to be an anthology series, but we're going to have like a few of the characters from her season traipse through in the next season and possibly throughout the entire series, which is a really smart way to do it, if you ask me.
No, yeah, because it feels like it could get stale in a second season if you focus just on Darby's character. But no, and then I know when we talked a couple weeks ago, my one buddy was wanting me to start Insecure, so I started watching that. I'm almost through the first season of that.
Oh, bruh. The journey you have ahead of you. Oh, I'm so excited. How far are you?
Episode 7, I think.
So are you ensconced in the Lawrence Hive yet?
Oh, it's oh man, I was watching it because my buddies, he's watched all of it, and I think we knocked out the first 7 episodes in one night. So I just haven't gone back to it, but because Lawrence is the boyfriend at the beginning, right?
Yeah. Lawrence is the boyfriend. Jay Ellis. Actually, you know what? Sneaky old. He's like 42. Black don't crack. I'm just saying. You know, when I shave this shit, we look all right. Yeah, he's like I want to say he's 39 or 42. He's an older guy from South Carolina, and Yvonne Orji, 36, whatever. They're all playing like late 20 somethings, which is fine. And actually, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but she has a stand up on HBO, which I watched a couple weekends ago because I had no idea that she was a comedian. She's legit funny. Her show was great. She's Nigerian American, and so she had like interspersed with her comedy, with her stand-up routine. She had pictures of her or film from her trip back to Nigeria, and so half her act is using a Nigerian accent. It's so funny. They say there are only 4 things a Nigerian can be: doctor, lawyer, engineer, disappointment. I mean, her whole set is really funny. Check it out if you can. It's called Yvonne Orji, Mama, I Made It. Yeah.
Is that on Netflix too? Or
no, that's on HBO. Yeah.
HBO. Yeah, I'll check that. Yeah, no, because Molly is her Molly? Is that her name on the show?
Yeah, Yvonne Orji, aka Molly, right here in the center. Fine and funny. Yeah, man. She had a comedy show too. I think for HBO, which was also really funny. So yeah, they're all comedians, I guess.
Yeah, well, that explains. I've been laughing, and I've had a couple just faceplant moments with some of the stuff Molly's done these first few episodes. I've heard it gets worse for me.
It only gets worse. Yeah, yeah. Molly doesn't really have a hive. Molly has like hundreds of thousands of Twitter therapists. That's what she has. Yeah, and his boy chat. Yeah, it's really good. I envy the journey ahead of you. So much fun. Very excited for you. And reason, I mean, well, I'm really proud of the show because it definitely does depict late 20s single Black life in LA. Something I know, entirely of. I lived in LA from roughly when I was 22-ish. Yeah, for about a decade, from 22 to like 32, 33-ish. I was out there for decades. So a lot of those places they go to, even though I'm a decade removed from that, I mean, a lot of those places are still there. That her apartment building, the Palms or whatever, I mean, I think I knew someone who either lived there or lived right by there. I used to pass by all the time, never gave it a thought. Now, of course, it's like a tourist attraction because it's Insecure. So it really does do LA, and especially Black LA, very well. So I'm very excited for the journey ahead of you, young man. So good. So good.
Bruh.
All right. Do you have something else you were watching you wanted to talk about?
No, not really. I've just kind of lazily been, since golf's back, when I've been doing all my DraftKings research for golf, I've just kind of thrown up Big Bang Theory in the background.
And I've seen you and Strenger, getting after it, talking about actually come back, Strenger, come back. Where are the call sheets? Come back. Now the golf's here. What you do good for us, huh? Our money too small? Come back, Stringer. Come back. Anyway,
Well, and then he talks about all the lineups he throws in, and he never puts one into the Crawford, and just leaves us hanging on there.
Well, you know what? I've been there, testing out your theories before you want to take them prime time. Anytime I play with you guys, I want to come correct. So I don't blame you. I definitely don't blame you. All right. Well, you know what? Let's move on to the game this week. We are doing our top 5 time travel movies. All right. The way it goes is you name a movie involving time travel. We alternate picks. Once that movie is picked, it is out of play. And as you are the guest and we are 2 weeks delayed, you get first pick. I will share my screen so we shall follow along. And what is your first movie, dear Ringballs?
Well, I'm going to be very predictable here and start with Back to the Future.
With what? I'm sorry?
Back to the Future.
Oh, Back to the Future. Okay. Easy pickings.
Yeah.
I dig it. Fair enough. And smart way to play the game. Wax poetic about Back to the Future.
So I recently just rewatched the trilogy not that long ago because it had probably, I was trying to remember the last time I watched it, and it was honestly probably over 10 years before. And so it was nice to go back, and I didn't really remember the second or the third one all that much. So it was almost like watching them brand new. But the premise is just he goes back and got to make sure his parents get together, and Michael J. Fox just is fantastic. I know the Rewatchables did this a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about what's his name? He was supposed to be Marty McFly, and they did 5 weeks of shooting with him, and they're like, oh, this doesn't work, so they had to go back and reshoot everything with Michael J. Fox. But no, it's just a fun watch. You just watch it, and the Doc Brown is with his crazy, and the scene with at the prom where what's the song he plays?
Oh, Earth Angel.
That's it.
Angel.
Yeah.
Earth Angel. Yep.
It's just a movie that you can just put on, you watch it, you have a good time, and next thing you know, 2 hours have gone, and you're just in a better mood after you watch it.
True, and so what I want to ask you is, did you notice? Because I think I covered Back to the Future in the podcast earlier with Stringer. Did you notice, like, at least for me, there's an extra layer of entertainment that was brought on by irony, almost that some of their jokes. So you have the layer of comedy, of it being a comedy. You got the meta layer of knowing what happened to all the actors in real life and everything. Then you have another layer of just time and distance. So like all their thoughts with the future, or all their talk about the future and stuff, and their thoughts in the past for 1985, which is when it came out, and I actually saw it in the theater because I am an old. Now seems even funnier to me because I'm laughing on jokes that not only were funny in 1985, but jokes of what they thought of stuff, of their concept of the future and space-time continuum. I had an extra chuckle at. Did you find that to be the case? Probably more so Back to the Future 2, but did you find it to be the case with any of these movies?
Oh yeah, it's you just kind of see what they thought the future and everything would be like and how they talk, and
I'm still waiting on my flying car, damn it. What up, Elon?
Yeah.
Where my flying car at? Yeah, all right. So yeah, that's a good movie. I'll give you the whole series. I mean, we could lose 2 or 3 picks on these. So, I'll give you that. Let's do for my first one, I'm gonna go with something that's pretty obvious. It's in the damn title, and it's Time Cop. I'm not sure if this is on your list or not. Have you seen Time Cop?
I haven't, but when I was talking to my roommate about for it to be time travel movies, he's like, if I had one pick, it would be Time Cop.
Attaboy. Now is that Tuck Nasty, the one who's doing the bracket?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
He said he was going to run down here and yell Time Cop. He's not here tonight. He goes on Wednesdays, watches wrestling over at his parents. But if we had it last night, he wanted to run down and yell time cop.
Oh well, I'm glad we're taping this a day late. I'm glad I had a stomachache because Time Cop is like pretty much my first and only choice. It's great. Well, you know what? I would say it's great. It's kitschy. It's fun. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme, which I'm sure to someone, to a millennial is like the concept of Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't even make any sense. You try to come back with that Amazon show, which actually I watched the pilot and I really enjoyed the pilot. I never quite caught up to the actual series. I think it was canceled after one season, probably because he's just not relevant anymore. But he was a thing in the 90s. This Belgian, French-speaking dude coming over, kicking people, super, ripped and athletic, and he had blood sport. He had a run in the 90s, right? And I'm not saying like he had like a Schwarzenegger type run, but he was like the highest level of B, the highest level of B actor you probably want for action series. And so Time Cop, Ron Silver, I mean, I think he's a bit of a douchebag now. Probably was a douchebag in the 80s anyways. But he's always a great bit of a villain. Mia Sara, yes, Mia Sara. At the tail end of her 80s to 90s, like, super mega hot run. She was Ferris Bueller's girlfriend, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She was the love interest. And basically the concept is, I can't remember what year it's supposed to be, but whatever year it is, I think it's in the near future. He's, there's a whole division called, Time Patrol Division or whatever that goes back into time to stop like, disasters from happening. Super ethically sketchy, whatever. And so I guess one time he gets sent back, he kind of gets like trapped in the past, and he has to go back to the person who's inventing time, the time machine, and to rectify things so he can eventually get back to his future. I guess a pretty standard plot for the future type movies. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I actually owned it for a while. I'm not ashamed to say, on VHS, I think. So yeah, Time Cop. That's my answer.
It sounds like something I'll need to check out.
All right. So what's your next film? What's your second film?
So I'm gonna go with Arrival.
Oh, is that time travel?
It's kind of a spoiler alert to say it's time travel.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, spoiler alert: time travel. All right. So tell us more about Arrival.
So I remember seeing this. I saw this in theaters, I think by myself, and I just the whole time they're setting you up. You've got the aliens in they come to Earth, and no one really knows what they're here for, and Amy Adams is trying to communicate with them. And eventually, but you keep seeing her have flashbacks about how she's lost a child and everything like that. And then when it's all said and done, you realize her losing her child was her and Jeremy Renner getting together, and it's actually in the future. Which
that's right.
When I walked out of it, it was just like a total mindfuck. You're just kind of walking like, what happened? And then you sat there and thought about it, and it's a movie that just it stuck with me for a couple of days afterwards, just thinking about it. I think Denis Villeneuve was the director.
Montreal's Denis Villeneuve. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, French sounding guy from Montreal. Yeah, this is the one where he really kind of announced his arrival. Like he'd had earlier films. Like I watched on Netflix Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's kind of a interesting one where it's like there's like a whole doppelganger thing. That's classic. Villeneuve, where it's like moody and atmospheric and dark. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Prisoners was the one that really kind of brought him to the mainstream, and then this is just Villeneuve just putting his nuts on the table. Like what? Like give me a budget. This is what you get. Like what? Atmospheric, moody. Amy Adams is great. Renner is great. I mean, it definitely does creep you out and stay with you. And I haven't seen it since, but it did, like you said, it stayed with me for a few days, and I'd be open to watching it again.
Yeah, I want to go back and rewatch it. I watched it probably about a year or so ago. It's one that I'd like to go back and rewatch, just because try and pick up on the things you missed.
Yeah, and watching it in a theater on a big screen is super kind of spooky and creepy and mysterious, and yeah, I dig it. All right, that's a good pick. I like that. So I'm gonna get this one out of the way because I'm sure this has got to be on your list, your backup list somewhere. But I'm going Looper.
Mm.
Now this is our boy Ryan Johnson, aka the best Star Wars director ever. That's for you trolls. That's for you out there on the chans. Anyway, kind of teasing. I don't know. Anyways, Looper is great because science fiction, time travel element, basically a guy. Older is it? Okay, I always get this confused. I think it's older. Bruce Willis needs to go back and kill his younger self, which I know makes no sense. Somehow they make it make sense in the movie, but that was pretty cool having Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the younger Bruce Willis coming up against Bruce Willis himself, and then having to kind of hunt each other and face off. Pretty kind of cool. And meets our discriminating. Oh, that's right. Emily Blunt's in this. Oh, I forgot about that. Meets our discriminating taste for time travel movies, and it was interesting. You know, well cast. Charlton Copley, who also I think was kind of hot off of District 9 a couple years earlier. Bruce Willis is timeless. Yeah, I like Looper. Have you seen Looper?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it since it was in theaters. Now that I actually think about it, so I remember seeing it and liking it, but I don't think I've revisited since.
Yeah, I haven't. That's another one that's also probably due for a rewatch because it was smart. It could have been bad in so many ways, but they handled it really smartly. And I think this is the arrival movie for Ryan Johnson. Also, I think he started getting more and more high profile work after this. So, yeah, yeah, Looper. That's my second film. What's your third one? Ringballs.
All right, this is more of just a guilty pleasure movie. I know it's not great, but I'm gonna do Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot tub, yo, no. First of all, never qualify your likes. You like what you like, damn it. I'm with that. Hot tub time machine, yeah,
This
that
was
was fun.
this was one of the first movies I saw when I started working at the movie theater, and at the time I could only bring two friends with me, so most of my friends wanted to see it because it's a ridiculous. We were all early 20s or late teens at the time, and so it was right up our alley for comedy. So I think I saw this like 4 or 5 times in theaters. Just Craig Robinson, Rob Corddry, Cusack. Even this was before you really knew who Clark Duke was. He was just kind of starting out, and it's a ridiculous comedy, but I just
No, yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
forgot
I
my
only saw it the
understanding.
one time, but it was fun. I mean, it's it's ridiculous, and it knows it's ridiculous. And the fact that you have so many guys like to be all in on it, I enjoyed it too. I think it had what one maybe two sequels, maybe like more like I mean I know
Yeah,
one I know the second one came to theaters. There might be another one that might went straight to video, right?
uh, I know they had the second one in theaters. They might have had one.
Yeah, just I mean it's in the title, Hot Tub Time Machine, totally qualifies. Respect. All
Also,
right.
one of my favorite memories from working at the theaters when this movie was playing. Somebody called the theater and asked what this movie was about. And my manager happened to answer the phone, and he was just like, "It's about a hot tub that's a time machine." And whoever was on the other end of the call was like, "Oh, okay," and that was good enough for them.
Sometimes it's all in the title. Snakes on a plane. What more can you ask for? Uh,
Apparently, Crispin Glover enjoys being in time travel movies. I picked two of them.
yeah, Um, all right, so my next one, my third one, and this one's kind of fairly obvious, I guess, is going to be Terminator T2. Give it to me.
Yep.
I mean, I couldn't wait on it any longer. Obviously, it's the whole thing centered around time travel. A Terminator, a machine, an android, cyborg, whatever from the future comes back to well, in this case, it was to protect the past, to protect John Connor, whatever, from an even more diabolical, sleeker quicker. There he is, Robert Patrick. Man, he was crazy with those steel blue eyes and the way he ran just so upright and straight. He was running upright before Tom Cruise was running upright. And it was just, I mean, it was a great time at the movies. It was scary. It was fun. I mean, a lot of thrills. And as far as technology goes, it was at the cutting edge of 1991 special effects. James Cameron did that shit. Should be very proud. And yeah, T2, Judgment Day. It's all about time travel, consequences of the future, what we'll risk to safeguard the future. And yeah, I enjoyed it. And honestly, I think I rewatched it a year ago, and it still slaps. There it is.
Yeah, this is one that I need to definitely go back and revisit. I don't know if I've ever actually sat down and watched it start to finish. I mean, it's always on TV, and I'll pick it up and watch it wherever it's at. But I don't know if I've ever actually sat down and watched it from the very start to the very finish.
True. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is interesting because it's pretty violent, but it is always on cable somewhere. So yeah, look at those arms, Linda Hamilton having her moment. I mean, even in '91, that was a bit of a thirst trap. We're like, wow, like we didn't know that women could get that ripped back then. Simpler times. But yeah, it was great. Linda Hamilton, yeah, and Edward Furlong. I mean, he was so good in this. It's almost kind of like you kind of wish that he'd had more of a career. I think he consciously like left acting for a while or whatever. But it's he was really good in this. And you kind of thought this guy was going to be the next big thing. Joe Morton. Look at young Joe. I was gonna say Papa Pope from Scandal. Joe Morton. Yeah, just great. Really holds up. All right, so that's my third movie. What's your fourth movie?
I'm gonna go with
3 Day.
No, I got my list. I was just trying to decide what I'm gonna go with Edge of Tomorrow.
Good one. Why didn't I think of that? That's an excellent choice. I love Edge of Tomorrow. AKA Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah. Well, and we had people come into the theater all the time, and they're like, "Can I get 2 tickets for Live, Die, Repeat?" And after the opening weekend, everyone figured what it was, what they were talking about. But at first, I was just like, "What the hell are these people asking to see?" But no, I remember seeing the previews for this, and I was kind of like, I mean, I'm going to see it because I would see everything that came out, but I didn't have high hopes for it. I remember leaving the theater and was just like, Tom Cruise just carries action movies. Why did I ever question him? Thinking
see, you were just like Kenneth Turan from the LA Times. Smart, exciting, and unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. And
Cruise, Blunt, Edge. Kudos to whoever did this one sheet. That's excellent. Cruise, Blunt, Edge. I love it. Smart, exciting, unexpected. Yes. So you're saying, I'm sorry. I just thought I had to give kudos to marketing where it's deserved.
It's one of those movies. It's just, I mean, that poster pretty much sums it up perfectly. It's smart, unexpected, Emily Blunt.
Eat Rock.
Big fan of Emily Blunt. She looks fantastic. The training scene when she
the yoga and it's not down facing dog. That's is that serpent? I'm sorry, I've got my Pilates. It's been like almost 2 years since my last Pilates class. So yeah, but yeah, she looks great doing the snake or whatever. Yeah, that's good stuff. I adore this movie. I can't say I had I came into this movie with no hopes, but I did see it opening day or night or whatever, and I didn't know what to expect because the marketing also was. I don't recall it being like that great or that on point. It was obviously a Tom Cruise action movie, but the marketing was kind of jumbled. Like I didn't really know what to expect, and so I had a blast, and I was really kind of astonished coming out of it, hearing the buzz going into it, like people just didn't really like they were prepared not to like it, which I thought was weird. And I think it did okay box office at the time, but it had like a second half. It had a half-life overseas, which I think really made it profitable. Because I know at the US, like for what it cost, people thought, they thought it was a bit of a flop to middling, but no, it made money, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it did really well overseas. But yeah, like you said, it felt almost like a lazy campaign or marketing campaign. It was just kind of like, this is Tom Cruise in an action movie. You're gonna go see it. We're not gonna spend the money to fully advertise it. So
Shit, Ringballs. Now I want to see. I'm looking at these stills. Now I want to rewatch this. This shit looks hot. Actually, after I'm done watching Jay Devlin's Highlander, and that I'm an hour in, and I am not loving it yet. I might have to rewatch this. This looks fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
I need to. This is another one I need to go back through and rewatch. Looking at all these photos, I'm getting jacked up just looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, 100%. All right, so my next movie, definitely not on your list, I'm sure, but it's Deja Vu. First of all, it's got Denzel. Second of all, it does deal with time travel, although a really kind of strange, or the mechanism isn't what you would normally expect. Let's put it that way. For time travel, it's more like a coffin, I guess, or he gets in like a little cramped little. Have you seen Deja Vu, Nick?
I haven't actually. This was one of the Denzel movies that got past me.
First of all, shame on you. I'm Denzel. Denzel's my number one actor. He's been my favorite actor of all time since like grade school. Like seriously, at one point I had every single Denzel movie except for like it was like 2 that I couldn't find on DVD or VHS back in the aughts. But and I've like read I read like the unauthorized autobiography by Douglas Broad. Also, I'm a huge Denzel stan. When I was at acting school, yes, I went to a MFA acting program for 1 year, and I would always watch like a clip of Denzel before I'd go perform. Just get me in that zone. So this is one of his less heralded movies. I think someone on that Rewatchables podcast from The Ringer, I think someone was like talking shit about Deja Vu. I'll brook none of that. None of that. This movie.
I'm guessing it was not Shea Serrano because
probably no, it wasn't Shea. Actually, I'm sorry. Maybe it wasn't the rewatch. Maybe I think it was Fantasy. One of those movie snobs had some shit to say about Deja Vu. Deja Vu is a very effective thriller. It gave us Paula Patton. It was like her first like really major role as a leading lady. A little bit nudie, didn't mind it. Very hot. And this is you can kind of see the transition of Denzel going from prime peak, leading man action hero to the beginning of potential dad bod Denzel. I mean, it kind of. I remember being confused in the theater, like, but no, he's supposed to look immortal forever. I mean, he's probably like late 40s, early 50s when he did this movie, so I don't blame him. But yeah, this is a great movie. Caviezel's in it. Is a bit of the villain. I won't give away too much since you haven't seen it. You should definitely watch it. It's excellent. Tony Scott, may he rest in peace. He's just a master of the whole genre. It had bits of action in it, but I wouldn't call it a pure action film. It definitely is a time travel movie with the way they deal with it. Set in New Orleans or after Katrina. The fun fact, or interesting fact, not necessarily fun, is that they were set to film down there when Katrina struck, and so it delayed. I think they're in pre-production, and so it delayed them, several months while the city had to kind of, wash out or whatever before they're able to kind of complete filming. And so they kind of incorporated a little bit of post-Katrina into it as well, because you probably were, a kid or teenager, or whatever. But Hurricane Katrina, 2005, it was pretty bad. So I just think it was great use of New Orleans. I think it was the first New Orleans set major film post-Katrina to feature it. So I know there's a lot of pride around its release in 2006 from that community. Oh, and Adam Goldberg, too. I love this.
I was going to say, was that Adam Goldberg?
That's a Goldberg sighting, baby. He plays, as you can see, a bit of a wild, unkempt tech, snarky, sarcastic, pure Adam Goldberg. So, yeah, good stuff. And classic Denzel, Deja Vu. That's my 4th movie. What's your final pick, Ringballs? Make it a good one.
All right. So this was the very first movie that I used my movie pass on back in the day, and I'm going to go with Happy Deathday.
Oh, nice. And yeah, that's more of like a time loop movie, but we'll allow it. Happy Deathday. And yeah, so talk about that, and I'll give you my thoughts, because I was definitely, you want to talk about unexpected and smart, and smartly unexpected. That's the Happy Deathday.
Yes, this was I went and saw it on a Saturday morning. I didn't have anything going on, so I was like, my movie pass just came in. Let's check it out. And this was the closest one starting. Was this a Blumhouse?
Yes, Blumhouse.
Yeah. So this movie has also caused me to see a lot of other bad Blumhouse movies because
Fantasy Island. I got caught. My bad.
yeah, Fantasy Island, Truth or Dare, some of those that. But no, this one I went through seeing it and I was like, this is really good. It was a nice way because I mean obviously movies like Groundhog Day and I mean even Edge of Tomorrow is kind of a time loop, Source Code, everything like that. Uh, it was just a real inventive way on the genre, and uh, I mean I didn't see the ending coming at all. Who the actual killer was, and
Mm-hmm.
everything was even the sequel and follow up to it. Uh,
It was
because I
fun.
remember I was seeing the preview and I was like, how are you going to do a sequel to this? They stuck the landing on the sequel too. This is just a real fun movie to watch. I think they're on HBO if anyone wants to check them out. And Jessica Roth she looks really good in this
Yeah, she did. This was my introduction to Jessica Roth. I'm not sure what else she had done, and I really was not about to see this movie, but I think they released it like in August or something. It was super slow, and I mean, like a lemming, I'm compulsively. I need to be in the theater almost every weekend, and just in the premise, anything kind of Groundhog Day-ish. I mean, it's a weak spot of mine. You got me. I mean, I'm
movie. Yeah,
I'm always kind of in for seeing how they play on iterations and time loops. And this was really smart. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Apparently did well enough at the box office to get a sequel. Like I don't think it made like 100 million or anything, but I mean, Blumhouse shoots their movies for so cheap. I mean, you
yeah.
could do 40, 50 million and have that be a smash success for them. So yeah, so this is a fun movie. I enjoyed it as well. I'm not a horror movie guy at all, but the fact that they had that Groundhog Day element totally sucked me in. And yeah, she's a compelling lead. I like her in this. Happy
Uh,
Deathday. All right, so my final one. This one is definitely before your time, but I'm gonna wear my old man badge proudly. Damn it, I'm tired of being shamed by youngins. All right, we're going Star Trek 4, The Great Discovery. How are you familiar with this? Oh, sorry, not the Great Discovery. Sorry, The Voyage Home. See, I even messed it up. The Voyage. Are you familiar with this one at all?
I know it in name. I've seen the recent the Star Trek movies, but I
Which are
haven't
great.
seen any.
Yeah, this one. So in this one, not to give anything away, and apparently you're not like a Star Trek completionist anyway, so it's fine. But this one, so the first Star Trek movie, I guess, came out in like 77 or 79 or whatever. It was a bit of a thing. That was too young for me. I didn't quite see it. I was old enough to see The Wrath of Khan in theaters, and that blew my hair back. I mean, that was great. Have you seen The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay, so you're not a Trekker. All right, that's fine. It's
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Wrath of Khan really put them into franchise overload mode. Like they started being event films, and so by the fourth iteration, Star Trek 3 was fine. I remember it was a resolution of the storyline in 2 where Spock dies, whatever. But of course, you can't keep Spock dead; he comes back, whatever. But in 4, this was pretty cool because this is probably the biggest budget movie at the time in history to be an environmental movie. This whole thing is so you find Kirk and them finding some sort of like wormhole, whatever, and going back to the year 19. I think it was present day. I think it was like 1984, 85, whatever. San Francisco, and their mission was basically they had to save the world by saving the whales. It was all about saving them. That was a big thing in the 80s, was saving the whales. Greenpeace. They tell us about it as kids, like that was like a big deal, saving the whales. So anyways, this thing was about saving the whales in modern day San Francisco. It was a little corny and cheesy. People kind of denigrated it, but I enjoyed it greatly. Still sticks with me as a kid. I've only watched it maybe 2 or 3 times in my life, but it stayed with me. Decent special effects. All the cast in their prime William Shatner, prime before he started hawking stuff on midday cable and everything. Just prime William Shatner, not a care in the world, devil may care looks, all good stuff. Just a really fun movie. So if you're looking for something down memory lane a little bit of time travel mixed in with your sci-fi, I highly recommend Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. Let's save the whales, y'all. And on that, since of course you have nothing to say to that before your time, we're in that segment. And of course, as predicted, Zoom, my battle with Zoom continues. Oh, there we go. All right, here I am. I'm back. We're going to take a short break to, I guess, not even so much pay the bills, but advertise what this great game, Cinema Draft and Draft Stream, is all about. So hang with us. For those of you listening at home, for those of you watching on video, we will cut this, so we'll be right back in a moment. And we're back. All right, so last week's quarantine movie of the week was Jerry Maguire. Thanks for everyone who tweeted or responded at me via social media about your experience with Jerry Maguire. I love that movie myself. This week's quarantine movie of the week, and allow me to share my screen, is Bamboozled. And yes, wildly offensive poster, just the beginning of your journey with Bamboozled. It's awesome. It's Spike Lee's satire on Hollywood and race relations. It was my personal movie of the year in 2000. I thought it was a miracle that it came out at all. It's pretty incredible. Basically, it's about a black TV writer in 2000. There's a lot of talk about New Millennium this, New Millennium that in 2000, the year it came out. A black TV writer working in New York, but essentially for Hollywood, creates a modern day minstrel show as protest, starring Savion Glover, who had like a really big stretch in the aughts in the 90s, tap dancer extraordinaire. Are you familiar with Savion at all, Nick?
I'm just clicking on his IMDb page.
Yeah, he had like a few special. I think he had like a full blown movie where it was just him tap dancing, in really interesting ways. This is also one of the earlier experiments in digital handheld photography. The movie looks like shit. I won't lie. It looks like shit. Spike had no money. I remember reading stories about him fighting with the studios to get it done or finished. And I think he might have had to self-finance at the end to finish this movie because it was so controversial. Just like the show within the show in this movie. And so you see here Spike with the handhelds, but it looks, kind of grainy, and it's not like the Michael Mann sleekness of Collateral quite yet. But, I really respect him for doing it. He put his money where his mouth is. All these guys came to play in making this movie about a modern day minstrel show. And in the movie, the minstrel show, for reasons that are totally obvious, both then and now, it becomes a hit. Who doesn't love a black man wearing blackface acting super stereotypically black? It's wild. I know it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially a lot of new millennials now. I get like they couldn't quite get the subversive humor, but I laughed my ass off at it. The draft mom also rewatched it recently. She had a great time because if you're black in America, if you're African American, you spent your entire life laughing through the pain, and so to see them mine well-worn stereotypes in the minstrel show, like they had a person dressed as every stereotype I learned in my ethnic notions class in junior year in college. The Pickaninny, Aunt Jemima. It sucks. We don't want that in our lives, but to see them expertly skewer that in a satirical manner, and that's what satire is: taking life, showing a funny house mirror to it, and working out serious issues through humor and pathos. It does all that. It's a really great movie. Michael Rappaport, perfect. Central casting for the white guy who thinks he's down, the white guy who says, "Oh, I'm blacker than you." That type of guy who still exists, I'm sure. Jada Pinkett Smith was excellent as Damon Wayans, put upon assistant. Damon Wayans, my God. First of all, all props to I think Keenan is the oldest Wayans, and then it's like Damon. Damon was great in this. He plays this totally reinvented. I'm trying to find the right word. He's such a caricature of a buppy, a black yuppie of that time, where he's got this fake accent. He talks super controlled and he's got these affectations, and he calls himself Pierre Delacroix when his real name is Peerless, Dothan. He totally reinvented himself to be this, white man's ideal of a non-threatening black guy. It's incredible. I mean, this movie was so slept on. It only made like 2 or 3 million at the box office. They had my money. I'm one of the 2.5 million. I'm the few of the proud, damn it. That movie was great. I saw it in theaters. I saw it at home. I think I owned it on DVD for a while until I until I sold off all my DVDs and went purely digital. But yeah, this thing, it's offensive to look at, and that's the whole point. And I don't care, present company included. I don't care. Not one white person loves this movie. I love this movie because I get what they're trying to do with it, and it really does have themes that carried on that are timeless, that from before then, and now. I mean, there's so many jokes they have in this movie that it's like they could have written them yesterday, because everything that's going on in the country, racial unrest, whatever. Until we deal with all these things collectively as a nation, especially white people included, we're not going to get past these things. In this movie, it's a painful reminder of what still exists and everything, and all of the slave era, artifacts that he has throughout the movie are wild and interesting. But it's a really effective movie. I think it's a must see. If you can find it, Nick, seek it out. It was on Prime. I don't think it's on Prime anymore. But if you find it available for rental or whatever, see that movie, because you'll be thinking about it, talking about it for days.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and find it, or if I just have to buy it digitally, I don't mind buying it. So I'm gonna look at that up once we get off this podcast here.
Yeah, man, Mos Def, young Mos Def is in there. There's another guy. He's named actually, I don't think you can see him in this, but a guy named Craig Mums Grant. He's on this new show called Hightown. I mean, 20 years later, still working. He was also on Oz, I think, and on The Wire for a stretch. So it's just really fun seeing these guys 20 years later still working. That's Matthew Modine right here. Funny thing, and Matthew Modine makes a cameo, really funny in that. Savion tap dancing on the table. This is before the whole Atlanta skewering of the guy rapping on the table and stuff. This is in 2000. This is Savion Glover getting on a table and tap dancing. Literally tap dancing for his contract. I mean, it's just so wild. I love this movie, Bamboozled. Check it out, y'all. Damn it, check it out. Give me your tweet length review if you've seen it or do end up seeing it at Play Cinema Draft on Twitter. Love to see what you think about it. And all right, so we're going to pull into our draft stream update with our lowball aficionado, Nick Ringwald. What are your thoughts on this week's talent pool? Well, actually, first let's talk real quick about last week. How do you think it went down last week? Are you happy with your performance or any of your call sheets?
Well, I mean, I succeeded in getting the low ball for the second week, and I thought I was going to be able to take down all three. My number one for Jay's rules.
Yes.
It's just a little bit too good on that one. I thought because I figured Miss Juneteenth was going to be the highest scorer.
Okay.
So I figured if I just did a 4-pack of it, it would give me enough to be in contention. And then I did the 8 headliners overall, and I just figured that there would be
not too much, right? You want just enough, but not too much. Yeah, Miss Juneteenth to get the $50 fifth place bonus. Yeah, and that happened to our boy MJCJ. Shout out to him. But yeah, so and then also you were competing with yourself for possibly getting into the second place money. Jaybird just could not be denied. He had a late surge to kind of take it from you. What do you think happened there?
Well, I think I did a 4 or 5-pack of what is it? That TV show that was on season 3. Summer Camp.
Oh yeah, Island. Summer Camp Island. Yeah, looks like you had a 4-pack.
Or 4, yeah. I didn't pay enough attention. I remember you talking about it when you previewed it on the podcast with Devlin, saying that it was in its 3rd season. And I just completely forgot that. Realized that it probably wasn't gonna get any critics reviews or anything like that. So I was pretty much hemmed in at the 96.
Well, you know what? Let's not dwell in the past. I mean, you did well. You got a little change, a little $10. Your low ball streak continues. Some people aim high, some people go low. Master your domain. Good stuff. I was really upset because I thought I had a good beat on it, but then freaking Perry Mason. It was a struggle this week to get up to
Yeah,
$75,000
that
minimum budget. So, and Perry Mason knocked me right out of it, clean out. Look at Perry Mason. Perry Mason did 101.15, second highest scoring title of the weekend. After that, I had no shot. So well played.
yeah, no, I was sitting there and I was building my team for the low ball, and it's like, oh, I got to get to 75,000. So I think I had a 2-pack of Perry Mason in there too, but luckily everything else I had just went really low.
Yeah, Wasp Network. Oh, have you seen our beloved Ana de Armas's new movie yet?
No, I haven't gotten around to it. No, what Sergio, is that the other one you and I were talking about in the group chat?
Yeah, Sergio. It's a perfectly mediocre movie, but Anna, her and clothes don't mix sometimes. So you might, it's worth a watch just to see, her lovely face. Yeah, no, it's interesting because it was actually I listened to like a podcast interview with the creator and also Wagner Mora, the star of it. I mean, the guy who we all know is Pablo Escobar. I think he kind of came on our radar, everyone's radar en masse as the guy who played Pablo Escobar in Narcos the first few seasons. And it's interesting because the guy who did this movie I think also is doing like a documentary on the real life Sergio. I forget his last name, but it's a real life guy. He works for the UN. So they really it was really a passion project for them. I mean, maybe it didn't do as well as they wanted to do, but it's on Netflix. It'll be there forever, so people discover it or not.
No, yeah, I meant to check that one out. But yeah, no, I didn't get around to Wasp Network either. So Dad's I think was the only thing I watched.
Yeah, I might get to the Wasp Network this week. I mean, it looks like it's going to be largely subtitled because it's dealing with Cuban immigrants or whatever. I think it's Cuban immigrants infiltrate Cuban spy network or something. I don't know. It sounds mildly interesting, but it's subtitled. So anytime there's a lot of reading, I need to make sure I'm in the right headset, frame of mind to be able to pay attention and read. I mean, I watch everything with captions anyways these days because I don't want to miss a word. But there are movies and stuff you watch where you check your phone or you look up something on IMDb. Can't kind of do that if it's like in a foreign language. Yeah. Right? So yeah. But let's take a look at this week's talent pool. 25th. A new wrinkle I will be adding. It's not much of a wrinkle. It's more of a UI thing. Is I discovered, I mean, me and these sheets, new discoveries every week. I discovered that you can actually link someone's call sheet directly to their name from the box office report. So I will start doing that now. It'll make it a lot easier when I'm going through my recaps. So look out for that. After I merge everyone's call sheets after a game lock this week, you'll be able to click right here from the player and go straight to their call sheet. Should be great for everyone involved. And yeah, so we've got an interesting mix, a fairly uninspired mix this week. I think our highest, actually this one, a regular woman is our highest salaried title so far. That's mostly because there's a wealth of information on a regular woman. What are your initial thoughts on this so far?
So the only thing I've actually really, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's a really solid score. The one, I know you were experimenting with our first Wednesday release with that Athlete A. And
yeah, I started watching that last night. It's some heady stuff.
It looks like it is coming out real strong right now. So I'm guessing that everyone in the pool will be heavy on that this week. Yeah,
cheap value looks like cheap. I mean, if it's at a 7.7 just on IMDb alone, I mean that's cheap value right there.
Yeah, so I know through my initial look through, that was the one that I will probably have a lot of. I finally saw a preview for that Eurovision Song Contest, the Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that trailer?
I love Will Ferrell, but I don't.
But love has limits.
Yeah, like I went and saw Holmes and Watson. I don't know why. I didn't think it looked good, and I hated almost every single minute of it. The preview, I don't think it's going to perform.
This looks
Oh my God.
terrible. The trailer looks awful, and I get it looks very, it's very much a parody of I guess there's like a real Eurovision contest in Europe or whatever. It trends every once in a while on Twitter, and I just kind of chalk it up to hashtag Europe. But the thing that might actually get me to check this out is Rachel McAdams. And not only because she's beautiful and talented and all this stuff, but everything she's in, it's almost like she's incapable of mailing in a performance. And by that, I mean, like, even like a movie like Game Night. Game Night was good. It's like legit good. It was fun. She's game in it. She's always, willing to roll with the punches with anything. And it's not like it never feels like she's ever above material, if that makes any sense, like if she's like, if this is the parody, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're doing, and she just kind of commits. So I'm inclined to check it out. I'll give it at least a half hour.
Yeah,
a half hour. I mean, over.
I mean, if I made the conscious decision to go to a theater to watch Holmes and Watson, I think I can at least sit down and start watching this one on Netflix. So I'll check it out. I will probably have 0 of it in at least in my 2 call sheets that I think are going to be near the top. It might be in my low ball.
So what do you think of the prospects for Irresistible? Because this one, I mean, you don't want to believe your lying eyes, but man, this looks bad.
Yeah, I listened to your recap or your preview pod on Monday. I don't know what to think with this movie. It's video on demand too, right?
It is.
So yeah, I'm probably not going to pay to see it this weekend. If I see that it's getting good reviews, I might consider it. But it looks like a mess waiting to happen. And after Space Force kind of fell flat on its face.
Did you finish Space Force? Did you watch any of it or all of it?
I've watched the first 4 episodes, and like I watched it and I laughed and enjoyed watching it, but it felt almost hollow, like I was missing something. So I haven't really gone back to finish it up because there was nothing really there that made me feel like I had to, especially after Upload came out less than a month before, and I loved that. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, Upload was great, and that's also why I was very excited about Space Force. And you're right, Space Force sucked. I tapped out after I can't believe I made it through 7, but I tapped out after 7 episodes. It doesn't get any better. It's not what you want. Get your money, Steve Carell. Good for you, but yeah, it's not what you want. Only other thing. Go ahead.
My Spy, I'll probably check out. I don't know if I'll have it in any of my call sheets.
But you'll at least watch it.
I'll watch it. I mean, back when we were allowed to go to theaters, it was on almost every single. This trailer was on almost every single movie, so
it really was.
It looks interesting enough. I don't know how great it'll be, but this Chloe Coleman, is that her name, the little girl?
Oh, actually, that's a great question. Chloe Coleman. Yeah.
She looks like she's going to be really good in the movie, and I mean, as we've seen with Guardians of the Galaxy and Stuber, Bautista can at least be funny enough. So I think it'll be good for some laughs. I don't think the movie itself is going to be particularly great, but I don't think I'm going to be upset after I watch it.
You know what, Nick? I think I've stumbled onto a viewing ethos today. This is another one where I think I'll give it a half an hour. I mean, I used to, and I almost feel ashamed, but life is too short. Sometime around, so I used to, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I used to write movie reviews for online. I didn't quite have a blog, whatever, but I would give it to a few different outlets here and there. Didn't really get paid much, if anything, but it was fun. I wrote a ton of reviews, and I'll never forget watching. I want to say was it the Michelle Pfeiffer teacher movie? There was some teacher movie.
Oh, the one where Coolio sings the.
Actually, I'm sorry. So Dangerous Minds had already been out, but then there were so many Dangerous Minds knockoffs. There was one of these knockoffs a few years later some white lady savior in the jungle of dark people movies. And I remember getting to 40. I was on a studio lot. 45 minutes into screening, I walked out. I'm like, you know what? Life's too short. I will write in my review that I walked out. I didn't finish this. It was just a bad movie. And ever since then, I've gradually amped it up. Like even if I paid to see a movie, I'll walk out. I mean, nowadays, or when we were able to still go see movies, I would have my A-list or whatever, so it made it a lot easier, a lot conscience-free. Or I was the type of person, I can admit this now, it's fine, statute of limitations, whatever, that I would pay for one and see three, and I'd have these suckers lined up perfectly and do the bathroom trick, you go into the stall, and all sort of stuff. I had it all mapped out. So even if a movie was disappointing, I just leave early, go to the stall, read some stuff, go out, go see my next movie, what have you. So this looks like a half-hour movie. I'll give it a half hour. I'm truly reclaiming my time in both the congressional and the personal sense of the word. Reclaiming my time.
I can tell you as a former theater employee, as long as if anyone who wants to do the multiple movies trick, as long as you act like you know what you're doing, most people aren't even going to stop you or even notice.
And as a former movie employee myself, 100%. Like you have to be. I mean, just don't be explicit with it. Just don't be like obvious with it. I mean, sure, if you have like a little backpack or a shoulder bag, fine. That's fine. But don't like reel in like some shit. That's just like some people get like too extra with it or just throw it in your face. It's like just be slick.
Yeah.
Be smooth with that.
Or like the 14 or 15-year-olds that want to sneak into a rated R movie and they just hang out by the bathroom and they're sitting there giggling. It's like if you just walked in, nobody would notice you, and as long as you're not assholes in the theater, no one's going to catch you. I mean,
that's right.
14 and 15-year-olds. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, act
14 and 15-year-olds don't have the most common sense.
All right, well, so I will wrap up our draft stream update. Our wonderful game plays every Thursday. Call sheets are due by 6 p.m. There's a link in the description of this video and podcast. Click that link and share with me your call sheet by 6 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday to be eligible. We are three maxing our call sheets. So 3 shots to go high or to go low. But you'll have a hard time getting past Ringballs and his 50s pompadour haircut here. So he's body blocking. He's going for a streak of his own, and maybe also take the top spot. Who knows? As long as Jaybird doesn't win it, damn it. We won this week for America, damn it.
Shout Canadian invasion, get out of here.
Yeah, shout out to Gamble 24x7 G24, the all-time cinema draft money winner. He's regaining his form. Just took him a few weeks to get back in the swing of things. So we'll see how he does this week. But I'm coming for you. All right.
I feel like I could have chased down Gamble 24 if we could have continued the game, the cinema draft game a little longer.
If you have one more day. Michael J, MJ, CJ. Oh, it's one more day. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's also an interesting thing about the game this week is that we also have another Acorn sighting, another Monday release. So it'll be interesting to see the mix of strategies at play this week. And we're gonna bring this in for a landing. Thanks again, Nick, for gracing us with your presence on the pod. We'll have you back on more regularly as we steam closer to our site launch. It's going to be another month or so. Hang in there, guys. We're still spreadsheeting, but we did hire a new designer. Very excited to have Pollock on our team. I think she's watching. She's been a student of all of our stuff thus far. So shout out to Pollock. Keep up the good work. And hopefully we'll have a decent, workable prototype for you to play with in August and September. And so in wrapping up, usually this is the time where we ask people to go ahead and plug their ish. So do you have ish to plug, Ringballs?
I mean, if there's any Disney movie fans out there, if you just want to go to my Twitter profile, I got the tweet pinned at the top with the polls. I typically leave them open for 2 days, so enough time for people to come in there and vote. I'm releasing the third leg of the bracket tomorrow.
Yes.
Some of these were a lot closer than I thought they would be.
Yeah, we're for those listening at home, I'm actually kind of on the fly going through the Cinema Draft account and letting our wow, I cannot talk to our voice be heard. Yeah, and some of these are, I mean, this was actually kind of tough, but Finding Dory. Yeah, some of these aren't very close. Some of these are actually better. They're closer than you think. I'm not even the biggest Little Mermaid fan. I really enjoyed both, but I will go Little Mermaid. And it's just really fun to see how 32 minutes left. Okay, so yeah, round one's ending before you hear this pod. So
yeah, round two will probably be open for a couple hours after this one comes up, but round three will be up and running.
All right, excellent. Yeah, so go check out our boy Ringballs at Ringballs22 on Twitter, and we will, do what we can to stay up with it from the Cinema Draft Twitter account as well. Great stuff, Ringballs, and once again, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening and playing the game. And this is usually the time when we would say, why don't you quarantine with a movie or something instead of see a movie or something. AMC wants you to see a movie. Don't do it. Stay home. Be safe. Quarantine with us. Watch Bamboozled, everyone. Play the Cinema Draft and Draft Stream games. See you all next week. Take care. And quarantine with a movie or something.